A very warm good evening to the August gathering present here. I hope this iDAC intelligence series is giving you engrossing experience for the field of architecture and design with all its preceding sessions. I take the privilege to introduce you to the topic of today's panel discussion. The topic is biomimicry in practice, nature-inspired architecture and design solutions. I think all of us are well acquainted with both the terminologies that are critical in this topic, that is biomimicry and nature-inspired architecture and design. In an era where sustainability and innovation are more critical than ever, biomimicry offers a compelling pathway forward, one that turns to billions of years of natural evolution for guidance. So today we are joined by this distinguished panel of architects and built environment enthusiasts, specialists. So let us delve into the discourse. We'll explore how biomimicry is influencing design thinking, improving energy efficiency, and fostering resilience. So without further ado, let's dive into how this fascinating blend of biology and design is being realized in practice. Welcome to all the esteemed panelists. So my first question would be to JP Agrawal, sir. So to begin with, we would want to understand what exactly is biomimicry and how is it different or same with the traditional sustainable design or green architecture ideas?
Good evening, friends. I think it's a very interesting subject. So let me first apprise you about some of the terminologies which we use with relation to the biology and architecture. So one is that we call about the biophilic. So biophilic, there is a biophysic, and now this is biomimic. So there are three terminologies. Biophilic means it is basically an architecture which we design because of the inner desire of all human to remain close to the nature. That is biophilic architecture, means we incorporate the nature within the architecture. Means we have a, whatever the manner, whether we can incorporate a lot of green courtyards, nice view outside, responding to the nature as much as possible. Second is a biophysic. Biophysic means biology is something which is live. And that live thing is made of so many elements. And that element relates with the principle of physics. So we understand the physics principle and how the living entities are behaving with relation to the principles of the physics. And biomimic is all about these two. It means that first thing about the biomimic is comes with the terminology itself. There's a bio and mimic. Mimic means it's a mimicry, what you use normally in a non-normal term, means we are trying to replicate. We are trying to get inspired from a nature. So in a very simple way, if you try to understand, there are so many elements in the nature which inspire us structurally. Take an example of cell of an egg. The strength of the egg, how the egg, that cell is deriving the strength. Take an example of a tree, the tree branches, how the big cantilever of the branches are coming out from there. The Gaudi architecture of Barcelona is a wonderful studio over there, and so many models are laid over there, where Gaudi tried to study that how the tree is actually functioning. And then he implemented the principle of the tree structure into a building and to create the beautiful structures that Gaudi has created over the period. That's a wonderful design which no other architect could ever actually replicate. And using these principles of structure, that includes even the geodesic dome that Buckman Fuller introduced out of the hexagons and that kind of a structure. And very light structures can have a large span. Instead of making it straight, which is, we are trying to do something anti-gravity. Instead, in nature, everything is friendly to the other forces, basically a force of a gravity. We are trying to do something which has a minimum effect of a gravity so that we can make it as light as possible. So when we talk about biomimic, it means that we are trying to implement anything and everything which we see in a nature, which is useful in creating a structure. That is biomimic. And it is not only about the structure, it is also about the, say for an example, air ventilation. There are beautiful examples of natural air ventilation happening in so many natural forms, which we can implement in a larger scale into a building. So there are endless examples of the entities which we see in nature, and we try to do it in a different manner in building. So these principles of natural sustainability, we try to adapt into the building, that is biomimic.
Thank you so much, sir. This was indeed very deep, and you really sort of dissected the entire etymology. Next, I would like to come to Amitabh, sir. So this is like, again, coming from a very personal dilemma. Mimicking generally has a very light connotation to it, you know, which is maybe replicating the original and which hence may lack depth. How do you think that biomimicry does not defy its name or its purpose?
I fully agree with what Mr. Agrawal has just elaborately explained about the very principles of biomimicry. But going beyond the basic principle of form, replicating from nature, the forms of nature, it is more, it is another dimension to it is that, and which is a very important dimension, is replicating the cyclic nature, cyclic character of nature. That is most important rather than mimicking the basic forms of nature and getting into your design. Say for example, the cyclic form, when we talk about the cyclic form of nature, we talk about how nature grows, how nature degenerates, how nature disintegrates, and again reproduces. So it is creating at the same time, degenerating at the same time, again reproducing. It's a big cycle. So in our design also, we should be inspired by these forms of nature, which I think is a very important part. Number one. Number two, if we look at, say, the cyclical nature of the environment we live in, the day, the night, the circadian rhythms of the ecosystem. So if you see that, the very change of seasons, every season has its own character. If you talk about winters, it has its own character. If you talk about the summers, it has its own character. Monsoons bring a different character altogether. So how adaptive we are to all the cyclic nature of the environment. So I think that plays a very important part of the entire concept of biomimicry. And to adopt that to our design principles will make it more resilient and will withstand the test of time. I think that's one lesson I think we should learn from nature, living with its purest forms.
Thank you so much, sir. I think it's no way mimicking the way we in the normal life sees. Next, I would like to come to architect Aditya Garodia. So now that we understood what biomimicry is, I would want you to elaborate on how it is implemented or how it influences the way architects or designers use it in problem solving.
Yeah. First of all, good evening, everyone. So, my take on biomimicry is we need to understand what exactly biomimicry is all about. What I feel personally is it's about evolution. So, if we study nature for hundreds of years, thousands of years, you see it's ever evolving. Everything, all the plant species, all the animal species, human beings, we are evolving over time. So, biomimicry is something that we need to understand, and the architecture also has to evolve along with the evolving nature. We have to learn from the natural things and understand how we can evolve our buildings along with the evolving times. So the second aspect which I would like to cover is when we talk about biomimicry, it's about integration of natural forces, natural materials. So sustainability is a part of biomimicry also. It's one aspect of biomimicry. So it's about getting inspired with the strength of structures, like as Sir had mentioned, how you get inspired with tree trunks and branches, and how do you integrate that in your design. So I think for starting from as far as Eiffel Tower, which is also inspired from nature and the femur bone of the human being, it was inspired from there. So from there we had started and we have evolved, and over time, right now I think Singapore airport is one of the examples where they have incorporated biophilic design. So that is one aspect. And you see lots of times starting from introducing a small courtyard in your project, which I recently done in a project in Darbhanga, where it's a small commercial project, but I had convinced the client to just integrate 10 by 10 courtyard, which is covered of course on top, but at least that natural light is coming in. So that I think is a part of biomimicry. Biomimicry is not about copying, it's about integrating the nature in your building. That's what I feel.
Thank you so much. Now that we have sort of understood what it is and how significant it is, I would now like to come to architect Ragini Goswami. If you could just give us an insight on what are the challenges that are there in implementing biomimicry in urban infrastructure in terms of, let's say, material, cost, and how do you think that the kind of certifications that we have, IGBC, LEED, could actually enhance or promote the use of biomimicry in architecture and design?
Thank you so much for the question. And I think it's great that we are choosing this topic, because it's important that we understand that biomimicry is something which can be direct replication, like Sir said, and it can be also through the processes. But I think challenge-wise, one thing is that, see, we all have time constraint for everything. So if the designer or the client is willing to give that much time, because conventionally what is quicker, now we have everything which is like we want precast, then we want something which is like factory made and we just put it on the side. So are we really ready to look into the intricacies of any like biophilic or biomimic design, and are we going to study? A little bit of research and study is obviously required. We have seen such beautiful designs internationally also, and I think here also we have seen, but I think time constraint is something because of which the cost might also go up. So that might be one factor or one challenge that probably it can be faced. And also I think if you have certain codes, building codes and all, how much can we adapt to that and make our designs compliance to that also is important. So cost-wise and time-wise, some kind of challenges will be there always, but that if someone is willing to actually think about why we are doing it and finally what we are getting out of it, then I think these challenges are very nominal. And with respect to any kind of green ratings, I think already these ratings are talking about biomimicry, if not directly. But I think, like sir was saying, it's like not always directly mimicking, but it's the processes or the whole loop which we are talking about. And green building does talk about building with nature. Then we are talking about passive cooling techniques. That is something we can, again, a lot of examples are there where we can take in such kind of examples. Then simple things like evaporative cooling. Where did it come from? I think it was an idea where human beings sweat. So what happens during that process? Why do we sweat? When we reach a certain temperature, people start sweating. So I think somewhere around that idea, the whole concept of evaporative cooling was designed. And I think green buildings also always encourage to use kind of passive technologies wherever possible. And also, material-wise, we choose something which is locally available and also which is indirectly or directly related to that. And one more thing is that we often talk about nowadays, it's important that we talk about net zero waste, net zero energy, net zero water. So waste, like again I'm coming to sir, what he was saying, that in nature doesn't produce waste. So if we are trying to build a building, what if it's zero waste building? How can we do that? So that is again a very important concept of the green ratings. Again, energy-wise also, are we trying to produce the energy that we're going to consume? If we can do that, it's like a nature's process. We are trying to mimic that part of it. So that is already being done, maybe not directly. You're not saying make a biomimic design or something like. Even I think there are credits for some ratings, but it's obviously taking getting inspiration and putting it in out there. It's a very important part of, I think, green ratings.
Thank you so much. That clears a lot of doubts. Next, I would like to come to Nakul Malsom, sir. Now, talking about, sir, materials and techniques, since you've extensively worked with bamboo, how do you think, or what is the kind of potential bamboo has in order to create biomimetic design in terms of catering to resilient structures or resilient architecture? We know about the flood situation in this region. We also are aware of the thermal comfort concerns that are raising in the globe. So how do you want to evaluate bamboo's role or potential in this case?
Thank you, first of all, for this question, actually. If we talk about, the first architects, who really inspired from the nature is not architects, actually. They are the society builders, those who are the people of this region and every region, actually. They are the real architects who have really got inspiration from the nature, from their material, and they built it for their, habitations. So we architects, we also look for another local materials. What are the local materials available in our areas? And how can we use for our construction use? Basically, this region, our region, you see, is full of bamboos. India being the second largest, bamboo producing country after, bamboo growing country after China, India is the second largest. And in India, 70% of bamboo stock is in Northeast region. If you look back in the tradition, in the past, you see most of our Northeastern, people, whether you call it Assam or this Manipur, Arunachal, everywhere, people used to build with bamboos. Their, houses were all made of mostly bamboos. If you see the, evolution of architecture, if you look back, mostly in Assam, in Tripura, or in every other states of Northeastern region, mostly our habitats were built with bamboos, actually. So bamboo, earlier, even in the bamboo constructions, you see, bamboo traditional houses, there was no windows. There was no direct, wind. For that, you have to make some holes or this and that. All walls are, part of the windows, part of the light. Even the floors also. Part of the, waste, how to, make use of it, and as a sleeping purpose for, for your beds and all, and for cooking things. So if you look back the traditional houses, you will see all this mimicry, what we call it today. That they have all got inspired from these materials only. So they are the first architects. We are just, rightly, sir has put in mimicry, something like that, no? First time I'm hearing. So, since 2004, this architect, Ritik is also there. We have started actually, 1 year before he started this bamboo actually. So after that I continued, and he continued in his own profession. And I have continued bamboo particularly actually since 2004. We have done lots of buildings with bamboo. My experience in my using bamboo is this, like as you said about environmental friendly. See, when you talk about bamboo, as the architect here, she said that how to make use of it like zero waste. So bamboo, when it grows naturally, it extracts from the environment lots of carbon dioxide. It stores it. It is a storage of carbon dioxide. So when we use it, as a building material, we are not using only bamboo, we are storing carbon dioxide. So every, metric ton of bamboo has 1 metric ton of carbon dioxide. And as you know that we are having, this crisis of wooden resources. Rapidly depleting resources is wood this time. We will not going to have lots of forests in the days to come. So bamboo is the only material which can be a substitute material, which grows faster. In 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, you get a good mechanical properties in one bamboo. 5 years old bamboo has good mechanical properties. Whereas in wood, any type of wood you get after 50 years, 70 years, the same strength. So bamboo can really replace these rapidly depleting resources like wood. And also, as you know that the bamboo has a tensile strength. You can use it in some small buildings for small houses like in the villages and all. Recently I have done it in Borpeta for the this small school in the village. That school used to be washed by every season of floods. So they requested me if it can be done by bamboo. So we made the bamboo house for school from ground to the roof. It is just like an RCC. If you look at the walls, the foundations, and then the roof, everything is made of bamboo. So people, when they touch it, they look at that structure, they think that it is an RCC building. So environmentally, you can achieve a lot. And economically also, you can achieve a lot. Why? If you talk about any industrial product like bricks, steel, those are produced by industrialists. So once you buy the materials like bricks or steel or any other material, you are giving money to the industrialists. So our economy is going to the rich people. But when you talk about the local materials, right from the plantation of bamboo, it involves the local people. And harvesting also is done by the local people. And also the sellers, those who sell to the market, they are also local people. And those who build with this material are also local people. Because when we talk about RCC or any steel buildings, we need specialized people. We have to acquire from some experts from other cities. But when we talk about bamboo, since they have the traditional skill, so they can build by themselves. By that way, we can also reduce, immigrants. There is a problem of immigration. Lots of laborers are coming from the villages here and there, in every cities. But when we talk about local thing, local has that knowledge, traditional knowledge and skills. So we are not only talking about the environmental friendliness, we are also, achieving the local economy from plantation to the harvesting to the building. All are local people. So we are achieving local economy and also minimizing the immigration. There is a problem in every state. So we should encourage these local materials. Thirdly, now I'm coming to the third point. Now seismic, we live in the seismic zone, highly seismic zone. So we can use bamboo in many places. Like I have made one small auditorium in NIT, Arunachal Pradesh. So they had little budget, so I said, okay, let me try with this. So we made it. So we can do lots of things. We can get inspiration. And the technology that is available, the materials that is available to do good joinings and to do good treatment also, now it is available. Whereas in the traditional way, they didn't used to have good treatment systems, also joinery systems. But now we can think of, being an architect, we have lots of joining systems now. We can adapt it and make it a good use of it.
Yeah.
That's why today I have seen one presenter, architect, Chiang Mai. He used the engineered wood in his interiors. Earlier, when we started this technology, these bamboo-based things, 2002 onwards, it started in Guwahati. So during that time, those bamboo-based engineered bamboos were not there. Gradually, it evolved. It has, from the tradition to the industrial product, it has reached to that level. But we architects are still ignorant to that.
Yeah.
Because when we use some material, we are not only using it for our purpose, but we are, many are benefiting out of it. Not
Absolutely.
only environment, even the villagers are benefited out of it. Even the industries are making money out of it. So that is for third, no? Third.
Yeah.
First is environmental, second is economy. E for economy, E for environmental, now E for earthquake. Now fourth is that, you said, what? That energy efficiency. So energy efficiency is, if you make use of it nicely, you can really do it.
Yes.
One of my friends, they are from Germany, we are doing together. So I'm taking lots of time, right?
Yeah, sir.
So I'm just finishing in half a minute. Just give me. So we have now, we are starting a models now. We can make it up to G+5. So with new joining techniques. So we are exploring in that area also now. So we can have good flooring systems where insulated walls, insulated floors are there. During this winter time, you can have good insulations in the floor itself, so that you can have enough, it can generate enough heat. So these things we are exploring now. Let's hope in the future it can come up in Northeast region also. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an elaborate, realistic picture. Now coming on to something that is again coming from a very personal curiosity. This question is to JP Agrawal, sir. Sir, the ideas generally associated with biomimicry seems to be a little distant from commercial architecture. And since you have an extensive experience of designing shopping malls and all, I would want to understand how biomimicry can contribute in creating a shopping mall experience, the standard shopping mall experience, and how can it withstand the challenges of a financial equation getting solved?
So let us first understand what the mall is all about. We used to have a bazaar. Over here, the fancy bazaar is there, as much as I know, in Guwahati.
Yes.
In Kolkata, we got a Bada Bazaar. So there used to be a bazaar which got over the period crowded. The second issue is related with the heat and dust. So in Calcutta, the first change occurred where 1 or 2 AC markets were made. One was the name was the AC market on the Theatre Road. There were 2 or 3 basements with the small shops, very popular. And then one more mall came up, that was the Vardhan market. And again with the small shops. Okay. So now over the period from Bada Bazaar, it came to a small AC markets, and then came a mall concept. So the mall is all about openness, air-conditioned environment, and a user experience. So what happened? The mall has become a place of socializing. If you ask the youngsters where they want to meet, तो hangout के लिए कहाँ जाना है? तो mall में जाना है. So the gardens are becoming outdated, and the malls are becoming a hangout place. So we architects, we find it very strange because we want to be close to the nature, while the young generations want to go to the mall. But we must understand they are the human, and whatever their nature is demanding, they are doing that. So now it's very interesting. If you ask me that, we have done so many malls and what are the challenges which we face, then probably I would say there are 2 challenges. Number 1, the mall is an energy guzzler structure because of the air conditioning. It consumes a huge amount of energy. The second problem with the mall is the span, because we require a large open space. So we have to, in the atrium, we have to have a very good cantilevers, very big span, etc., etc. They are the challenge. For air conditioning, the biggest issue is the heat intake, because we have to design atriums. So a lot of natural lights gets into it. So the problem occurs with the heat. So when we say about the application of a biomimic, before that we have to think that what is going to be the form of shopping malls in the next stage. So we had a Bada Bazaar, we had a Vardhan market, we had a today's mall, and now we are looking at something different, which is the next stage, next generation mall, we call. In that next generation mall, we have to think about the biomimic, because of the very simple thing that we get a lot of inspirations from the nature, which are energy friendly, means we can save a lot of energy, and we can handle the large span much easily by using the principles of nature. So, of course, it's a challenge, and I wish that, I get an opportunity in my lifespan to design something which is completely different than modern malls, which we see today.
Thank you so much, sir. That was an interesting take on it. I would now like to come to Amitabh, sir. So drawing from the previous 2 speakers, Malsom, sir, and Ragini, while we talked about climate resilience and the relationship of climate resilience and biomimicry, since you have extensively traveled and worked in the northeastern region, how they can collaborate, both biomimicry and climate resilience, considering we have such high rainfall areas in the northeastern region, flood-prone areas, seismically vulnerable areas. Now, of course, this urban issues as well, urban flooding, urban heat island effects. So considering all of that, how do you think that this collaboration can really happen with a very context-specific approach?
See, nature is again the best teacher, as we have already been discussing. I think from all the speakers that you have heard so far, I think we are time and again trying to get back to nature, to our roots, to our traditions. Now, talking about Assam as a state in general, it has its own peculiar geographical characteristics, starting from, if you talk about the topography, we have a perennial river which is very unpredictable. starting from Hodia to Dhubri. If we talk about the Brahmaputra river basin, each area has its own peculiar geographical characteristics which requires different interventions. Shore areas require different interventions altogether. The Upper Assam areas covering Dibrugarh and Tinsukia and all these places, they require a different level of interventions. Again, we have the hills on the south, starting from your Karbi Anglong, then Dima Hasao, then of course some part of the Garo Hills on the southern side. Now, we are experiencing intense rainfall because of these factors, and primarily because of the southwest monsoons that travel right away from the Bay of Bengal. And probably we have around 6 months of monsoon period, if I am not wrong, starting from May right up to the end of September. So probably we even have some northeasterly, that Bodoisila, what we call northwesterly, that wind, and we experience some amount of rainfall during the month of April also, in probably a little bit of drizzle happening in the month of March. So we have these peculiar characteristics, and of course floods are a part and parcel of our lives. The river swells beyond its carrying capacity every year, and it inundates all the basins that it has on both sides. And of course, again, looking back to nature, we have our own flood resilient designs that we had been traditionally following. If we look at what the missing community had been doing all along, let's talk about the changars, for example, which are the houses on stilts, on bamboo. Our friend Nakul has already exemplified the very basic characteristics of bamboo, the kind of resilience it has against all weather conditions, especially against floods. So this type of housing is not being adopted by other communities other than the missings, maybe because of socio-cultural and other factors. But time and again, this has proven to be one of the time-tested and most resilient structures against, as a form of defense against the fury of floods that we have been facing every year. And then we have, I think researches are already on for floating community housings. I think Kankana was here today morning. She would have been the right person to talk on those. Her research topic was based on that. So I firmly believe that in the coming times, we will be having very innovative and very, very resilient kind of structures which can withstand the fury of floods that we have been facing all along. And I think, again, we have to be really, looking towards the very characteristics of nature, and we have to live with the, we have to live with all its vagaries, and we have to be resilient enough in our designs to embrace the furies and all the aspects it carries along with it. I think that's one way of looking at it. And I firmly believe that we are coming up with a lot of research work on this field, and probably in a different forum that can form a big part of this discussion.
Absolutely, sir. I think that should be a discussion of the, it should be a very pertinent discussion. Now, coming to Architect Aditya, there's again a very pertinent question of internet accessibility, which is literally breaking all barriers in terms of reaching out to global ideas and global references. How do you think that this kind of a situation contradicts or can work hand in hand in achieving contextual architecture in today's times? The internet versus, the global context from the internet versus the contextual architecture, and that too specifically in interior design.
think the mic's it's working, yeah. So, I think the evolution process which we have, the transition which we have gone through in the past 100 years, and if you see past 1 million years, 100 years, and then the past 10, 12 years has been, I mean, equal, more than equal. I would say the maximum transition has happened in the last 10, 12 years. So we are still learning to adapt to it. The first thing is that we have to understand it's changing so rapidly that we don't have a clue how to adapt to it. I mean the flow of information, flow of data is so much that we don't know actually how to adapt to it. So, and coming to your point, the internet, of course, see what is being built in US can be very easily copied here. That has happened with the glass structures, which we had discussion a few months back in a session earlier. So we have been using glass structures without even giving it a second thought. Was it meant to be used here? So it was not meant to be. So we as architects have to be responsible to understand what materials to use where, instead of just copying. So we are the builders. We need to, of course, it's very difficult to convince people, but we need to give it a try as far as the architecture is concerned. And as far as the interior is concerned, I think it will take a lot of time to answer this question. We need to understand the evolution process and how to actually adapt to it, and without losing our cultural and social identity.
Absolutely, yeah, that's really rightly said. Coming to you, Ragini. Now, if you just switch the scenario a little bit and shift the gears to an urban scenario. So how do you think that the rapid urbanization and urban development that is happening all across, what could biomimicry contribute to the environmental degradation that is caused by these rapid urbanization effects all over the world?
I think the main issue that we all face at this current context is the rise in temperatures. And of course, at a local level, we have been facing floods, which has become, every year we face it, and we know it's going to come, and we accept it and we move on. So I don't think there has any solution has been thought about or we have been able to achieve. But I think if you talk about, in the sense, how can we take examples from nature, at a urban level, wetlands are something which is so much relevant, because they are the most important part of any ecosystem, where they are the, actually they absorb the amount of flood water coming in. They are kind of the ever disappearing thing that is happening in our city nowadays, because urban flooding is so much because of the construction and the people who are actually staying in the city. Why is it not happening in the villages that much? In the sense, I'm talking about only the urban flooding kind of thing, not the normal river flooding. So that can be avoided to a very big extent if we know how the wetlands work, and it can be adopted in a local level also, in our own house level also. So we end up paving entire thing with concrete, and we forget that the water has to go somewhere. So that is something each one of us we can do at our home. We can have something where we are harvesting the rainwater, we are soaking, we have at least some kind of green areas, we have some kind of grass pavers. We're not trying to concretize the entire surrounding, because the building is anyways going to take up most part of the site, but the rest of the thing we can manage it. It's not something which we can't do it. And again, in the same context, we talk about the heat island effect, which you were saying. So that is again one more thing which is happening in every city, every urban area, and that also can be to some extent be avoided or be reduced by again having these kind of green areas, and also you can have green roofs, green walls. So all these things can be at a design level, at a individual level, that can be taken up, and an urban level also. Again, if each of us are following these guidelines, I think urban level, the problem itself can be solved to a certain extent.
Thank you so much. Coming to you, Malsom sir, I think this would be my final question to kind of wrap up the session. I would want you to throw some light on the factor of interdisciplinary collaboration. So in case of biomimetic design, how do you think that collaborations between architects, researchers, academicians, biologists, engineers should work or could work for a more balanced and a more sustainable way of having a built environment?
Yeah, definitely we have to work together only. It should be a common effort. And then we should definitely initiate with other stakeholders, other those builders of the society to come together to solve our problems. And of course, biomimicry can be, a solution provider. We can learn many things from the past and what we are going through in the present. They are all interconnected. And mostly the mentality, mindset of the society is the main issue. So to come to a solution, we have to work together, and we have to bring up a solution together through architectural, since we are all architects, so we can think of in our design concepts also. Generally, we do in our design concepts just for the sake of doing. But practically, these are not implemented. So we are also equally responsible for them. So we should be really thinking practically that we should do it. What we can do it, we should do it. Like a small plant, if you design in your courtyard or backyard, that can help a lot actually to take the groundwater inside your campus, inside the water, the ground. So the small steps you have to take up. Small things can make a big change in our society. This is what I can tell you as an architect, as we are all architects. If we do together, we can do a lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I think that is the correct note to open the discussion to the floor. Let's act to make it happen. So I would like to now open the discussion to the audience as well. Anybody who's having a point to make or any questions to pose, yeah, can please ask them or put your points forward. We can take a couple of your points and questions.
Do we have any questions from the audience? Anyone? I'm seeing that table, everyone is smiling. I don't know why they're smiling, but they're all smiling, which is good. But any questions from the audience? So the panel discussion was so good that you all don't have any questions. Yeah, sir is saying the panel discussion was so good that they don't have any questions.
Okay, then we take this as a success for the panel discussion, that probably we would have at least tried to reach out to all the answers that generally people would have. Yeah, of course. So thank you to our esteemed panelists for such a thought-provoking discussion, and also to the audience for your involvement. What we have heard today reinforces that biomimicry is not just a creative pursuit, but it indeed is a practical need, a strategic approach to solving some of our most pressing challenges. And let today's conversation be a catalyst for reimagining the way we design, not just for sustainability, but for regeneration and for a better future with balance. Thank you so much.